Come on in. Come on in. Welcome to Guitar Castle. What we have here is a 1963 Fender Jag. It's a Fender Jazzmaster, and it's completely stock. There are no new pieces. It.
Why do people like these though?
Well, they like them because of the music they've heard from Elvis Costello. Played one for years. Sonic Youth play them all the time. Many of the groups like Nirvana and all the groups from the Seattle scene, if they could get a Jazzmaster, a Jaguar, or a Mustang from the 60s, that's all they wanted.
What isn't there? I heard a rumor that you had some kind of connection to like Kurt Cobain or Nirvana or something.
I just sold them instruments. They were both groups that came in for their entire careers. I probably sold 5 of these to Sonic Youth, and none to Cobain because I never had a left-handed one, but I've certainly sold the group Nirvana mini guitars because they liked a small store in a small town where people weren't chasing them. They could come in and just be themselves. And
How long ago was that you had that store? Because I remember always hearing about it.
well, I had it. Guitar Castle is on its 24th year. I took a vacation for 4 years, but all sorts of people came into my store in the 90s because we had a lot of music in Salem in the 90s. The Armory, the LB Day Theater. I mean, you name it, they came here. And when from Neil Young to the Beastie Boys, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Sonic Youth, Social Distortion, Bob Dylan, Johnny Cash, Bonnie Raitt everybody came through Oregon. And it was kind of annoying in a way when kids would come into, there's nothing going on in Salem, I hate it here. Nothing going on. Johnny Cash has something going on. That was a great show. Bob Dylan, come on, you can't get entertainment like that in a lot of places. So it had a lot to do with Salem. It had a lot to do with the community we live in, that my small, tiny store became kind of iconic in a way. Plus, I bought a lot of guitars from people that had had them many years. And older guitars were made by men and women in California, in Nashville, in Los Angeles. They aren't stamped out like today. Pachoom, there's a body. Pachoom, there's a neck. People made these guitars by hand. They wound the pickups by hand. And they're made out of vintage wood. This guitar was made in '63. Well, that slab of wood is probably from the '50s. This is a guitar. It's a Gibson SG from 1964. Who wouldn't want it? It's got the sound. For rock and roll, hard to beat. Humbuckers, solid mahogany. Robbie Krieger of the Doors, Eric Clapton of Cream, George Harrison of the Beatles. They all use these guitars. Rickenbacker, made in Los Angeles. Made in Los Angeles in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, still. Santa Ana, California. The Byrds from the 60s, George Harrison, the Beatles. Tom Petty still uses old Rickenbackers like this. Pete Townsend of The Who broke as many as he bought. These guitars are unique in tone. They're chimey. Pete Townsend once said he played Rickenbackers because they're more like a cello when you play them. You're not going to play punk rock on a Rickenbacker as much as you're going to play a beautiful rhythm, chimey, gorgeous sounding guitar. These are perfect examples of American intelligence and love for the instruments, the people that made these guitars.
Dang. How did you first get into music? Like, what started this for you?
Well, there was this little group called the Beatles that came along. And boy, I liked the way they sounded. They sounded different than all the groups before them. And while I liked them, I was just really curious about guitars and what they were playing, and the Rolling Stones and the 60s groups. Just their sounds were all unique to what they were playing. And so I just researched them, read everything about guitars and the bands, and like Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones, Rickenbacker 12-string, so it really started with the 60s groups when I was a kid and listening to all these fabulous records.
How come you don't I notice a lot of your stuff is like old vintage stuff, and you kind of touched on that with like these were made by people. This guitar was made. So is that kind of why you don't necessarily... I see you do some new guitars,
Oh, yeah.
but that's pretty much kind of why you stick with a lot of the older stuff?
Even these newish guitars are secondhand. I'm into secondhand guitars. You don't have to pay for you don't have to pay the price that you would if you bought it brand new, just like a house or a car. If it's secondhand, it's less money. Now this is the irony there, the falseness of that is this guitar is now 20 times more expensive than it was new. I think in '63 this was a $300 guitar. So character and charm of the instruments. Let me show you one. This Gibson was made during World War II.
Wow. What year is that thing?
1944. And a lot of men at that time were in World War II. So a lot more females were employed at Gibson at that time. And I think they took a lot of time working on a guitar. Metal was rare, but they still were able to get fret wire. A lot of wood was being used to make rifles, metal to make tanks. The world was a different place. Somehow the Gibsons made during World War II, you'll find them in the hands of Neil Young, Dylan, those kind of people, because as soon as they hear them, they want them. It's beautiful. This is the LG2, means learning guitar. It's just a low-level learning guitar. They're highly sought after now, and this one has seen some wear and tear, but it's got a lot more life left in it.
What made you want to reopen?
Well, the community. This may sound a little odd, but everywhere we go, people were saying either, I bought my first guitar from you. You still have it? No. When are you going to open the store? Where's Guitar Castle? What happened to Guitar Castle? I mean, it got to be out of hand a little bit. People were really aggressively wanting something like what I had. And I left assuming that somebody like you, a younger guitar man, might pick up where I left off. That was 4 years. And I just decided when I found this building, this is it. This is the one I want. And it all just came together. And it's started out real strong. It's really we're having a great time here. Once at the Guitar Center, though, I answered the phone. Guitar Castle, I mean, and I look up from my, and there's Drew right there. He's going. Another time at the Guitar Center, I'm walking through, and there's this old timer trying to, can I help you with that? I thought I lost you! Right again, Drew, right behind me, walking, just going like this, you know. So no matter where I went, I ran into somebody that had crossed the path of the Guitar Castle and wanted more. So.
And you guys were open for how long back then?
23 years.
Wow. Where were you at before this?
I had a store on Court Street for 10 years. I had two different locations on State Street for 8 or 9 years. And so I bounced around a little bit. Broadway, the other venue. John Doe, he goes to Crystal Ballroom, sells it out. He used to come to my store.
Who was he? What was he from?
Well, he was in the Germs, but he was in Nirvana for the last 4 albums. And
was he?
Yeah, he joined during the MTV. He was Kurt's choice as, once they got, after Nevermind, he joined the group because Kurt needed another guitar player because often he's jumping on the drums and bashing his guitar to the ground. So his choice was Pat. Pat's a very, very nice man. He would come when they weren't touring to go through my parts boxes and look for parts. He's a real wonderful man.
Mike Ness. I used to really like Social Distortion.
Oh, they've all been in my store, all 4 of them. Dennis Donnell of that group was a very good friend of mine. Come on back here. There's Trenton Marquart.
Oh, whoa, we got like, they're getting that secret tour.
Yeah. This is me and Mike Ness.
What?
This is Mike Ness and me, and this is Dennis Donnell of Social Distortion. I sold him that guitar.
Wow.
And that's his obituary picture.
Wow.
Here's Pat Smear at Guitar Castle with me. Hanging out.
Wait. Oh, that is you.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was him on the left.
No, that's Pat. In Nirvana. Patti Smith, one of my favorite. I sold this guitar to Thurston Moore. It's the first guitar I ever sold him. And that's the last one I ever sold him. Both Jazzmasters. That's a 59, and that was the late 60s.
Wow.
Here's Pat Smear in Nirvana, and I gave him those green shoes. Bought him at Value Village in Salem. Gave him those shoes, yeah.
He needed shoes?
Because they were tins. They didn't fit me, but they were lime green, or emerald green. And so when he came in, we went over to my house, I grabbed these shoes and gave them to him. And then he was on House of Style. My real good friend John Doe, an ex-scene. John in front of my store.
Motorhead? Did he come through your store?
No, that's an ad though.
Oh.
That's been in my store for 20 years, that ad.
That's crazy.
Me and John Fahey on stage. I played with John Fahey till he died. Everybody's gone. Frank Black and John Doe at my store. Frank Black came to see John Doe play. This is my office. It's messy like the store.
Is it the same logo you had before or no?
No, that's just a painting I did. That's what I do when I'm not playing guitar.
I didn't know you painted.
I buy guitars and I sell guitars. I fix guitars. I trade guitars for other guitars. Help people with all the questions. What's this? Why is this here? What is that? I did a lot of reading about guitars. I've been to thousands of concerts and had a real good time doing it. If you have a request, if you need something I don't have, I search it out, I try to find it for you. This is downstairs of Guitar Castle. And this is where I have guitar parts galore.
Huh. Wow.
Old guitars. 1959 Rickenbacker.
Wow.
This case over here, under all this stuff, that black case is over 100 years old.
That's a guitar case?
Yes, back when they were shaped like that. Both of these are over 100-year-old guitar cases.
Wow.
And parlor guitars.
Wow. And
Sometimes you need a cable. I got a cable. Need a mic. Want something cool? Real 57.
And that thing still works?
Everything still works. It was made before this, whatever we have. What do we got back here? Let's just see. Oh,
Oh, wow.
how about a mic from the 50s that still works? Hello.
Ready to rumble.
Is that a shirt?
Hello.
What is that?
It's an Undyne. Paintings.
I didn't know you painted.
I paint and
And you
stuff.
just collected all this over the years?
Yeah, here's another picture of Dennis. I sold him 2 of those. They came into the store and signed a record cover, but I made this collage out of it. Dennis Denell. I mean that's Mike Ness. He was a sweetheart. We went out to dinner, and all he did in Portland was just nobody knew who he was. We were 4 blocks from the venue where Social Distortion was playing. All he did is pull, because he's got tattoos up to here. Covered him up. Nobody knew who he was. We had a great dinner. Great time.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, you got to have a basement full of junk if you're gonna fix stuff. You got to have lots of stuff.
Wow.
Pick guards, stuff.
Well,
Then, if you're gonna paint and hang paintings and sell paintings, you have to have a place to do that. So, I'm currently painting that one and this one.
Are these anywhere for like sale? Or
Yeah, the kitchen on Court Street, the Governor's
I
Cup.
just had breakfast there.
Places like, you did?
Yeah.
See the big blue kitchen thing in the window?
So
The
you-
mural, yeah. And the 2 paintings hanging up there. They're always up there. But that's just more what you call legacy or something. These are, here I did a picture of you once.
Oh, that's me, a donkey?
Well, I don't know about a donkey. Look at the antlers. I mean,
Oh, it's a deer.
that's a space donkey.
Okay.